Wherever you're comfortable. And then from here, first let your position go a little bit. Notice when your ribs go out, and then push through, flatten those ribs, finding your nice handstand position. Again, being just as far away or as close feels good. Letting it go, fixing that position. Oftentimes when people are learning handstand, especially this cue, when we get upside down, we'll find we do the opposite. And when we say ribs in, our ribs will actually go out. So noting what that feels like is something that's really helpful to be able to fix it. Nice. So go ahead and let that position go. Let those ribs go out. Even let your back arch a little bit. Just kind of let it get a little lazy. And then fix the position again, grow, yeah, really nice, knitting those ribs in. Do about 3 to 5 of these where you go in and out of this correct position. Make sure you're not overly slumping. You don't want your shape to completely collapse, but just feel what happens when you lose it and then when you correct it and find that nice stack again. Looking good. Really thinking about those ribs. Nice. How'd that feel? Good. Excellent. So for the next one, we're going to start to find this same shape just a little bit further away from the wall. So the way that I'm going to access this is if my stacked handstand against the wall is close like this, I'm going to walk my hands away and then I'm going to pike my legs so that my wrists and my arms and my shoulders are stacked. I'm going to bring one leg out so that I'm in a stacked position with only one leg piked. And then I'm going to think about my fingers against the floor and I'm going to see if I can pull that out, find a little float, send my leg back to the wall. See if you can get 3 to 5 of these on each side, resting in between if needed, but starting to access that nice stacked position when you have the wall there as a training wheel. So allow, when you come back to the wall, step your hands out just a little bit further, and then think about this leg over here. See how it's past you right now? See if you can have it completely stacked and your other leg piked. Does that make sense? Yeah. It's an interesting one to access, and this will help you understand and feel when your legs start to banana or kind of arch over you. So start with one leg totally stacked and the other one piked to the wall. Can you bring that right leg back towards you a little bit? There we go. That's your position you want. And then slow. That's it. Nice. Excellent. Try to hollow out a little bit more. Think about that right leg being more stacked before you start. Nice. Really, really nice. So this is the kind of drill that's really good to film yourself in or take photos of, because part of with handstands is being able to visually in our mind see what our body looks like when we're getting into certain positions. And for a lot of us, that leg bananaing or making its way over our head or starting to arch is something that's harder to feel.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No proprioception.
So go back for a moment. So think about first be piked and just get set here. Yes, so get this part of your body and now that leg can go a little less far. Nice. So have that left leg a little bit more over you. Nice. Yeah, take a breather. Really good. Shake it out for a moment. Definitely giving yourself breaks and giving yourself moments in between these. It can be a lot in the wrist. A wrist release that I like to do as I practice, I place my hand down and I imagine a duck's feet. You know how they're webbed and really flat and wide and look like the ideal like hands to do handstands on. So I like to have that in my mind, and then I like to use my knee and gently get into my wrist and into my hand and just find where those crunchies are. And again, imagine like a duck's feet, everything just widening out and flattening and giving myself this nice foundation for doing my handstands on. And then to your other side. And give it a good shake to keep the blood moving in there. At this time in your workout, depending on how much conditioning you're wanting to do, this would be a good time where you could add in some holds for time. A lot of people are working towards their 1-minute handstand, so this would be a time where you can work on that, even in the 5 to 20 second range. So just noting that this would be a good time to work on that. Since we want to get to some circusy stuff, we're going to play with some of our handstand entries. So for this one, with our back against the wall, we're going to practice our kick up on both legs, our tuck up, our straddle up, and our pike up. So it's going to be Nicholas's goal to let's get like 2 on each side. That way we don't have to spend too much time on it. So when Nicholas does his kick up, one leg is going to come up. Ideally, it's going to try to make it to its stack position. Go ahead and do your kick ups and kick downs for starters. And then we can get to our other ones. So we'll kick up with a straight leg, your other leg will meet. Yes, and then you'll come down the same way that you came up. Nice. Trading off your legs, trying to get 2 on each side. You'll notice that you'll be more dominant on one side than the other, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's definitely good to practice on both sides and just notice if it's harder or easier and what that feels like. Nice, got those ones. So next we'll play with our tuck up. So ideally in your tuck up, you would hit your tuck for a moment, you would hit your straight for a moment, and then you would hit your tuck for a moment. So for this one, you can be at a distance from the wall where maybe your bottom will just kind of bounce off the wall, just starting to work through these positions. So you can get 2 tuck ups for me here. Nice, leading with the knees. Excellent. So one goal as we work on our tuck ups, and this is something that will vary from person to person. I learned from Russian circus artists how to do tuck, and that is what they focus on in class. That's really all you even get to do. So something that you can work on to help your compression for your tuck up. When I get into my tuck, I want to be as compressed as I can be. And then I want to lead with my toes. I pretend that my shins are stuck in an elevator shaft and they're rising up into my handstand. And then on the way down, I do the same thing. I lead with my knees so that my knees come down into my chest. And it makes it more connected than if I do knees, toes, toes, knees. That's going to send my shape in other directions. This is really hard. But it's something that you can play with, especially when you have time to play with getting that nice compressed tuck. You want to do one more tuck up, see how it feels?
See if I can feed it.
Yep, so once you're stacked, think of leading with those toes. There we go. And then leading with those knees down. Yes, 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 good. Really nice. Yeah. So good. So next we'll think about our straddle. So for this one, we want to remember our drill that we did earlier. If I go to do my straddle and I'm coming more in this range, that's going to feel more like my pike. So imagining my legs going out to the side and then down as though I'm stuck between 2 pieces of glass. Really nice. Beautiful. Oh yeah.
That one I know.
Very nice. Give us one more of those. For my personal warm-up, I like to do 5 of each of these, pretty much as rapid fire as I can. I have found, since I'm a performer, the time that I'm most likely to mess up is when I'm going in and out of my handstand as opposed to my actual hold. So the more that you can train these entries and get them more confident, it'll really help you along those lines. Do you want to give us 2 pikes? Pikes, I think, are the hardest. For some reason, I save them for last. Why not, right? Yeah, beautiful. With pikes, the hard thing is figuring out how much you need to push and when to put the brakes on. If you notice, Nicholas pushed to about here, and then he just let himself glide and then hit that handstand. That's where having the wall is nice. In the beginning, you're gonna have to find those 2 boundaries of pushing too much and pushing not enough. Excellent. Good example, thank you. Really good. All right, shake it out for a moment. Give your wrists a little bit of love. So now that we're warm into our handstand, we can then start to play with some other kind of fun, funky things. So we're going to look at a little bit of crazy legs today. So for the first one, I want us to just talk about turn in and turn out of our legs. That's going to be something that'll really, really help with your handstands and help make these shapes even more dramatic. So we're going to lay on our backs on the ground with our legs straight. I'm going to try to point my knees at each other and then point them away from each other. So when my knees face each other, this is turning in, and when my knees face away, this is me turning out. Something to be conscious of is having this motion happen from my hips and not from my feet. So sometimes we have a tendency to turn out or sickle our feet in these movements, and ideally I want to keep my feet straight and static so that this change just happens in my legs. Feeling it? So we will first look at, what are these called? Leg swivels, swizzles, swivels, something like that. There's a bunch of different names for these. So I'm gonna lift up into my candlestick position. And then for starters, I'm gonna turn my knees in to face each other. Actually, I'll show you what it looks like first. So that's gonna be this up and down position that you see a lot of handstand performers and such do. So first step, my knees are gonna face in towards each other, so I'll do my turn in. Then I'm gonna bend my knees so my feet go down towards my bottom. I'll then turn out and then open up into my straddle. Coming back, heels in, turn in, straighten to my handstand. Yeah? So again, that's knees face each other, I turn in, I bend, I then turn out, I open. From turn out, I bend, I turn in, and then I open. In the beginning, this is gonna feel very mechanical, and if you film it, it might not look as pretty as we would like. But in the beginning, once you get those mechanics down, and as you get that into your body, you'll then be able to apply it to your handstand. Do you wanna try a few of those?
I want to say the cues though as they go.
Definitely. So knees turn in, then I bend, then I turn out, then I open. Legs come in, I turn in, and then I open, and then I go back to normal. Nice. These look good. Nicholas, how do you feel about your straddle handstand hold?
Good.
Do you want to try any of these in your straddle handstand? And we can troubleshoot. Do your best.
So you just would orient, just change it.
Yeah, it'll be the same. You'll just be looking down at your hands. So you can start either in straddle or in your stack. There we go, it's getting started. In, turn in, and then open.